Okay. Thank you. The meeting is now being live streamed on YouTube. I'd like to welcome you all to the licensing subcommittee, where we'll be looking at the application of licenses for Helen's Jolly Shop. First order of business is to appoint the chair of the meeting. Please could one of the councillors nominate a chair and somebody else second the nomination.
I'm happy to nominate Councillor Moulton.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Over to you, Councillor Moulton.
And I agree to that. So thank you and welcome to everyone for attending this meeting. Along with myself and Councillor Draper and Councillor Anna Brittis, we form the members on the subcommittee. And others will be invited to introduce themselves as we continue with the meeting. The meeting is and the hearing is being live streamed on the council's YouTube channel, and it is being also held virtually, so there can be a slight delay. Participants should be muted when they're not speaking, please, to reduce background noise, and that does help. If you have any technical difficulties, please do let the clerk know, equally, if you lose connection and people aren't present in the meeting, we may need to adjourn it for a few minutes whilst any issues are resolved. In the event that they can't be resolved, then we may have to reschedule for another date. But with that, I would now like to ask if there are any declarations of interest from councillors, and also to call on any apologies for absence. Anyone? No? I think all the members, we're all present, and so there's no apologies. So I think everyone should have had a copy of the procedures and also the agenda. So now's the time to let us know if anyone hasn't had any of those things. And I'd also like to inform that we do have our legal advisor present. We've had a briefing prior to the meeting, and I'm sure that he will confirm anything as we go along as well. So thank you for that and for providing clarification. Can I ask the licensing officer if there's anything that they feel should be brought to the panel's attention at this stage?
Chair, thank you.
Sorry, is that there aren't any technical issues? So I think you're muted. I'm not hearing. No? Guy, you're muted too, I think.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. I can't.
Yeah, I can't hear Tony at all.
No. Tony, we can't hear you. Do you want to come back into the meeting, see if it makes any difference? I'm sorry.
As soon as he logs back in, I'll bring him back into the meeting.
Yeah, he said that he will come back.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you, and I am sorry about that,
don't worry,
technical problems.
happens to the best of us.
Yes, so in terms of the application, there's just a couple of things I wanted to bring to your attention. Some of this is set out in the report. It's just to make everyone aware of what the application is. The original application was for off sales from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and that application was amended. The amended application can be seen in the agenda at page 26 to 30, which summarises the new times. The new times being 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday to Sunday. There's been one representation from Councillor Kirby, and there's also a supplementary agenda with you with some follow-up information and comments from Councillor Kirby. I have noticed in the email chain provided that there's mention of another licensed premises at number 72 next door, and there was an indication that that may have been surrendered. I have checked this morning, the license is still active. It has not been surrendered. It may be that the owner intends to surrender it, but as it is at the moment, it is still an active license. And just for the panel, just for the committee's information, the times on that license are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. on Sunday. And just to make you aware, the premises is in the cumulative impact area that's shown in the policy. The map is in the policy on page 41 of that policy. And Chair, I do not have anything else to add at this stage, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, does anyone have any questions, please, from the licensing to the licensing officer?
No, not at this.
Not at this stage. Okay, wonderful. So we'll now turn, following the order of speakers and the procedures that's in our agenda, starting with the presentation by the applicant, which is Sai Ram Trading Limited on behalf of the Jolly Helen's Jolly's shop. So, the applicant, please.
Yes, can I just check that you can hear me, please, Chair? My name's Frank Fender.
Okay, Frank. Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Fender.
Lovely, thank you very much. And I would also introduce who else is present, and that is Jaya Fasini Sivakumar, shown as Jaya on your screen. Jaya is happy to be referred to throughout these proceedings as Jaya rather than her full name for ease, for everybody's benefit, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, this is an application for a new premises licence at Helen's Jolly Shop, number 70, Gorringe Park Avenue, Mitcham. The application is made by Sai Ram Trading Limited, and representing Sai Ram Trading Limited today is Jaya. Jaya is also the proposed designated premises supervisor for these premises, should you be minded to grant this application today. Jaya has many years' experience of working in premises that sell alcohol. She's worked for 3 years at a large national supermarket selling alcohol, and for the past 4 years, Jaya works at a Shell petrol station, which also has a license to sell alcohol, and she is actively involved in that process as well. So she does have experience when it comes to selling alcohol within the area. Helen's Jolly Shop is located at 70 Gorringe Park Avenue. The shop is joined to number 72 Gorringe Park Avenue. They share a party wall. As we've just heard, there is an existing premises license for number 72 Gorringe Park Avenue. The premises for a shop which was called Votier's Liquor Store. The premises license for Votier's Liquor Store has been in existence since 2005, when the Licensing Act of 2003 was implemented. It is believed that that license was also held to sell alcohol from those premises before that time under the previous legislation, a long-standing off license. The existing premises license for number 72 is the aunt. Is the aunt of Jaya. Jaya's aunt owns both number 70 and 72 Gorringe Park Avenue. Jaya's aunt has closed the shop at 72 Gorringe Park Avenue and allowed Jaya to open the shop at number 70. And Jaya's aunt was informed at that time that the premises license to sell alcohol could be transferred from number 72 to number 70. This information is obviously incorrect, but there was an honest belief that the license could be transferred. It was a belief which then saw the aunt reconfigure the properties, turning number 72 into residential accommodation and opening the shop at number 70. So the only way now that number 70 can sell alcohol is to make an application for a new premises license, which in effect would replace the license at number 72. If this application is granted, then the shop at number 70 will be able to sell alcohol products along with other groceries and items. The original application, when submitted, sought permission to sell alcohol for the times that the premises will be open to the public. That is from 6:30 a.m. until 10 o'clock p.m. each day. On submission of the application, discussions took place with the police, and through those discussions, it was agreed to amend the times for the sale of alcohol to read from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. each day. And that is what you are being asked to consider this afternoon. The application proposed measures to promote the licensing objectives. These measures were also discussed with the police, and as a result of those discussions, further robust and stringent measures were agreed. I will discuss the relevance of those agreed conditions in a few moments. But the applicant understands that her premises are in a special policy area, and she also understands that these agreed conditions will ensure that the existing problems in the area will not be exacerbated if her license is granted today. The application has received one representation from a local councillor. You will note that there are no representations from any of the responsible authorities, the statutory bodies who all receive a copy of the application. Discussions did take place with the police, and as commented earlier, strict conditions have been agreed between the police and the applicant that will apply should this application be granted. As a result of this agreement, the police have not made a representation. They are clearly happy that the agreed conditions will serve to promote the licensing objectives and not add to the negative cumulative impact in the area. Those conditions are contained within your report at pages 26 to 30. There are also no representations from any other interested parties in the area. No local people are objecting to this application. But we do have the representation from Councillor Kirby, the ward councillor for the area. Her representation can be seen at pages 31 to 32 of your report. Councillor Kirby's representation expresses concerns about the current street drinking issues in Streatham Road. Councillor Kirby also makes comments that one, selling alcohol is a way for businesses to make money, and two, that there are already enough stores in the area selling alcohol. The first point, businesses have been hit extremely hard during the last couple of years due to the pandemic. So they can hardly be criticised for wanting to make money. I ask, isn't that the nature of every business? The question of there already being enough stores in the area selling alcohol is not a consideration for you this afternoon. If I can refer you to paragraph 9.11 of your own statement of licensing policy, which states, and I quote, "The matter of need whether there is a need for another premises in a given area, is not a matter for consideration of the authority and will therefore not form part of the decision-making process. That's in your policy, Chair. The issues Councillor Kirby raises in respect of street drinkers are valid and are understandable. But saying this, we believe that the agreed conditions with the police will ensure that the street drinking issues in this area will not increase. I say that because strict compliance with those agreed conditions will ensure that the street drinkers will not be able to purchase their drinks of choice from these premises. It is known that street drinkers target the stronger beers and ciders. The agreed conditions prevent these drinks from being sold. It is also known that street drinkers often buy just one can of their preferred drink. The agreed conditions mean that no single cans can be sold, no single bottles can be sold at these premises. It's further known that street drinkers buy miniature bottles of spirits. Again, agreed conditions means that these items cannot be sold from these premises. There's a further condition which states that spirits must always be behind the sales counter so as not to afford a self-service, and all other alcohol products on display must be in direct line of vision from the sales counter. Agreed with police. A further agreed condition states that no more than 20% of the sales area of these premises will be given over to alcohol products. This means the premises retains its convenience store, grocery store status, and does not just become a shop selling alcohol, offering little else. Chair, the premises sit in a special policy area, and it is recognised that where this is the case, it is for the applicant to demonstrate that the granting of the licence will not adversely affect the negative cumulative impact of the area. We know that the default position is for you to refuse such applications where relevant representations are made. However, you are permitted to depart from your policy if you consider that granting the application is appropriate and where the operating schedule, that is the agreed conditions, are such that it would not be adding to the overall cumulative impact. These messages, Chair, are clearly stated at paragraphs 9.4 and 9.5 of your own statement of licensing policy. And we strongly believe that the agreed conditions are such that you can depart from your policy and grant this license today. I would also like to draw your attention to page 41 of your statement of licensing policy. Page 41 shows a map of the Mitcham Town Centre cumulative impact zone. On that map, you will see small light green or light blue circles that each represent a licensed premises in the area. You will see that in Gorringe Park Avenue, there is just one of those circles. That is the location of the existing premises license at 72 Gorringe Park Avenue, the Votier's liquor store owned by the aunt of today's applicant. If you are minded to grant this application today, there will not be an additional circle added to the map. Number 70 would effectively replace number 72. And I thank your officer for the comments regarding the surrendering. There has been confusion as to whether the license at 72 was surrendered or not. I can confirm that that license would be surrendered. You've also heard that the current license for 72 allows alcohol to be sold from 8 in the morning until 11 at night, Monday to Saturday, and from 10 in the morning until 10:30 at night on a Sunday. You will also note there are no conditions attached to that existing license, no conditions whatsoever, no measures preventing the sale of alcohol to those likely to cause issues. So by granting this license today, you are actually granting a license for less hours than the existing license at 72. You are granting the license with very, very strong, robust conditions to address the licensing objectives and the cumulative impact in the area. And it is for these reasons, Chair, that we believe you can depart from your policy today. You can grant this license today, and I would ask you to do so. Chair, before passing over for questions, I would like to ask Jaya if she would like to add anything to what I've already said. Jaya?
Jaya, would you like to add to that?
Oh, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. I think Frank, you covered everything, and from my point of view, yeah, it's unfair if I don't have the license at Helen Jolly shop, which is I serve the local community, and I know all my neighbors are. So yeah, this is fair decision we are expecting. Thank you.
Okay. Do any of the interested parties, which would be Councillor Kirby, do you have any question to the applicant?
No, I don't.
Do any questions, any of the subcommittee, would you like to make any questions, councillors?
Yes, I'd like just to ask Frank, just confirm again that the license at number 72 has been surrendered, and is number 72 something else now? Is it still a shop? Is it still got the cascade, the look of a shop, or is it something else?
No, Councillor, it is something else. It's been converted into residential accommodation. And it was believed by the aunt that she actually thought she had surrendered the license. It's only from liaising with your council officers that we've learned that it's not actually been surrendered. And in fact, fairly recently, the annual fee was paid on it, whereas a surrender would have saved that amount, of course. But no, it's not operating as a shop, residential accommodation, so it's effectively dead.
Could I just follow up myself on that? So you say it's effectively dead, but if it's recently been renewed, presumably it is operational. And whilst you say that there's been a conversion into residential, you know, how easy? I mean, I suppose effectively at the moment, it would seem to me, and I think our licensing advisor would give better possible advice, but it seems to me we would at the moment technically be granting a second license, because if it hasn't been surrendered, then this would be another license. So whilst you have very eloquently said that on the map it would only be that there wouldn't be another green dot, as of today, there would be a second green dot, because currently there is a live license that is being paid for, and we are now dealing with an application for a new license.
If I may answer that, it may be more for the advice from your legal officer to advise on this, or from your licensing officer.
I'll let you go first.
Thank you. The premises license at number 72 will have been granted according to the layout of the premises at the time, i.e. as a shop. When changes are made to premises licensing or to the layout of a shop or a premises, permission is required. Normally a variation application would be submitted to the licensing authority to approve any changes. It's certainly not my understanding, or certainly my understanding, that none of this has happened. And for the only way that number 72, the premises license at 72 could be reinstated is for the current residential accommodation to be reverted to the shop layout as per the plan drawing when the license was granted back in 2005. There is no intention to turn 72 back into a shop. The aunt believed it was surrendered, and that was certainly my instruction when before submitting the application, that there was no current license in existence. It's only the last few days that we've learned there's confusion about what the owner of that license believed had happened to what actually happened. But it is the intention to surrender that premises license. It's null and void so far as the applicant is concerned.
Okay.
And I can sort of follow that up if that helps, Chair. The simple situation is, of course, that the offer of a surrender has been given to you at the meeting, and therefore you know it's going to be like for like in those circumstances. At the same time, you should be not persuaded, but aware from what's been said that the premises is now residential accommodation, therefore can't operate as a licensed premises in its current status. But if the surrender is given and the undertaking is given by Mr. Fender and the applicant, basically the grant of the premises license would be granted with the surrender being handed over at the same time in that sense. So I think you can take some store for that.
Thank you. So we could say in effect that provided.
I think you could. I mean, the licensing officer might want to confirm, but my normal recollection of these things is that you don't hand over the actual paper premises license for display at the premises until such time as you got the surrender. But I suspect the surrender will be emailed in an email from Mr. Fender immediately after this meeting to confirm that's been done. But
yeah,
there you go.
I think we would want.
And then the actual premises license may be sent in as well. Sorry, Councillor.
It's just that this is obviously very relevant to the cumulative side of this application.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Tony Hawks.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. It's just on the issue of the annual fee. The fees become payable automatically each year on the anniversary of the licence. If the licence holder hasn't surrendered, then it does become automatically payable and it remains a debt owed to the council until it is paid, which would be why we've received a payment when the premises isn't trading.
I see. Okay. Thank you. And Mr. Fender.
I following on from Mr. Bishop, Chair, I would more than happily give that undertaking for such an email following that hearing, if you were so minded.
And the actual premises license being dropped into the council, whichever way you can do that.
If it can be found, yes.
Fine.
But yeah, certainly the email first, followed by the subsequent action, absolutely.
If you can. Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Not from me. Not from me.
Okay, thank you. So now we turn to the presentation from the interested party, Councillor Kirby. Would you like to add to your written?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I've lived in the area since the 70s, and I remember Vautier's when it actually was a license, an off license. Unfortunately, since that period of time, things have changed quite dramatically in street drinking, and the level of antisocial behaviour that's associated with it has escalated in our ward. And sadly, the ability of the local police to actually properly monitor what's going on in terms of street drinking and antisocial behaviour is limited. So it's not as though we can always call on the police to help. We recognise that they are understaffed. We recognise they do have issues and it becomes problematic. I don't have anything particularly against Helen's Jolly Shop. In fact, the previous people that ran that shop there were my news agents, and I have my papers delivered by them. So I don't have a problem with that. The business that was licensed has been residential now for a while. And we haven't had a licensed premises in that street. We've got a fish and chip shop, and we've got a takeaway Chinese shop, both of which are excellent businesses and cause no trouble whatsoever. But what we do have is a significant number of street drinkers in the Gorringe area, particularly because Figs Marsh is actually just down literally 1 minute a walk away from where this premises is. I wonder whether had I not opposed this application, can I just say, I've got nothing personal against Helen Jolly Shop. I will oppose any new licenses that come up in Graveney Ward, because I understand the issues that we're facing here in terms of antisocial behaviour. So it's not me having a dig at Helen's Jolly Shop. So for me, I think, had I not opposed it, I doubt this change from 6 o'clock in the morning. It would have probably come in with a 6 o'clock in the morning and gone on till whatever hour, which I can't understand why anybody would want to be coming out and buying beer or alcohol at 6 o'clock in the morning, or why there is a need for that. Neither would any of the issues around the discussions with the police probably would not have taken place. And I'm glad that's had some impact. If my opposition has done nothing more, I'm glad it's brought that to people's attention. So my concern is antisocial behaviour. We have in Streatham Road a small business very similar to this that sells alcohol. The owners of the premises there have enormous problems with street drinkers and are scared not to supply alcohol to them because of the fear when you're being confronted with someone who's quite aggressive and drunk. And they hang around, and we've got a similar group hanging around in the Gorringe area. So my concern about this is around those issues, about safety, the factor that we've got an existing problem. I recognise a lot of work's been done. Good, I'm glad that's happened. As I've said before, I don't have any prejudice against it. I am going to oppose any licensed premises that come in. Whether that premises licensed for 72 is surrendered or not, it still exists. It should have been surrendered. And it's for the committee to decide what action you take on this, and I leave it to you to make your own judgment. But they're my concerns. I am a very active local councillor, and I will do my best to support a secure environment for residents in my area.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. And yes, we know you're active, and thank you for giving that representation. Do we have any questions to Councillor Kirby?
I have one, if I may. Or am I out of turn yet?
I think, would it be from the applicant first? I think we normally take the applicant first. If you don't mind waiting, Councillor Draper. So, Mr. Fender, would you have any questions to Councillor Kirby or Jaya?
No, we've got no questions of Councillor Kirby at all, Chair, although through you, I would just like to thank Councillor Kirby for the mediation with myself and her. Yeah. It didn't bear fruit, but it was very nice to know that we could at least try that dialogue. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And Jaya, would you have a question?
Yeah, and I understand the local community preventing from the tent. But I do understand that things are changing, and I am also trying to look after my area where my customers are, and I do support local community. I'm sure we will prevent this will happen.
Yes. Okay. So Councillor Draper.
Oh, thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much to Linda too for that very fair representation. But Linda, I would like to ask two questions. How long has the original liquor store been closed, and has there been a marked change in street drinking locally? I appreciate that generally it's still there, but has there been a marked change locally as a result of that closure?
Well, Vautier's, I'm not sure Vautier's was owned by this particular family, but I think they still kept the name Vautier because they were an English couple, and I remember who they were, but they kept the name, and I think the family we're talking about here probably took on that premises. The residential aspect of it, that was converted, I think, I couldn't give you the exact time when it was converted because of COVID, and to be honest, I can't remember how long it is, but it is residential, and it's been residential for a while. And before
that years
before
or
that,
months or?
Is years, yeah, not many years, but yeah, years. But
okay.
In terms of street drinking and the issues around Graveney Ward, we did a resident survey. We do one every 4 years. But when we looked at issues that residents were concerned about, street drinking was a big issue. And the community impact zone which we hoped might prevent more stores actually getting new licenses. Here we have a classic example of that. You know, are we going to recognise there is a community, there is that zone in the area, or what is the point of it? You know, why have we got it if when it comes to new licenses we ignore it? So yeah, that's what I would say about that. The issue of street drinking is a major issue.
Linda, thank you very much.
Okay.
No further questions from me, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other further questions? No? Okay. I think that therefore we turn to the licensing officer for any further comments or clarification, followed by the legal advisor. Thank you.
No, Chair, I've got no further comments to make. Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Bishop?
Nothing further that I haven't already said. It goes without saying that you will be applying case law, and including the Thwaites case. You will also be aware of your cumulative impact assessment and how that works. You will be aiming to make sure that there will not be an increase in cumulative impact arising from the grant of this license. You are aware that that is influenced by the fact that there will be a surrender of 72's license, formally, where it effectively has already gone. I will give you legal advice if and when required in deliberations.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Do we have any Councillor Kirby, do you have a closing statement as interested party?
No, I don't really. I mean, I recognise how difficult it is for businesses to operate these days. I think one of the problems with alcohol licensing is more of a government issue of what's been allowed to happen. I think drink is so freely available everywhere. It has consequences when you introduce such legislation, and we suffer those consequences. So no, I don't. As I say, it's not prejudicial on my part about this particular application.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you very much, and thank you for attending as well and showing your concerns. Closing statement from the applicant, Mr. Fender. Would you like to make that?
Yeah, yes, please, if I may, Chair. I think just to clarify one of the questions that Councillor Draper, I think it was Draper, asked. Jayers on, I understand, took these premises over in 2017. So that kind of gives some sort of narrative as to the question, how long have these people or has her aunt been at these premises? We've heard street drinking is the issue. Street drinking is a national problem. It's also a problem in this issue. That is fully understood. It would be the police that would normally have to mop up the mess to deal with the crime, to deal with the antisocial behaviour as a result of street drinking. The discussions with the police were very useful, very fruitful. A lot of conditions have been agreed that address the street drinking issues. I would be very confident, as with the applicant, Jay would be confident that she will not be adding to the overall street drinking issues in these areas. The premises simply won't be allowed to sell the products that street drinkers tend to target and tend to go for. Interesting that Councillor Kirby says that its residents' concerns from the survey was street drinking. But can I remind you that none of those residents have made any representations to this application today. Another opportunity, if street drinking was the main issue, they could have made the representation in their own rights. They've not done so. The police have not made a representation. They are happy that these premises would not add to the overall cumulative impact. And just one final point, the sorts of problems that are being suggested that could happen, Jaya doesn't want these problems in Gorringe Park Avenue either. It wouldn't be good for her business. It wouldn't be good for the local area. It would affect her custom. So it's in everybody's interest to make sure that this license, should it be granted, the conditions are fully upheld so as to not exacerbate any problems. I would ask you to grant the license as applied for with the agreed conditions, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fender. And Jaya, do you have any final comments that you would like to make?
Yeah, I mean, like Frank said, everyone play their part. So I will make sure everything in my area, my shop, so everything under we cover all the conditions and make sure there's no further trouble be added. We try to prevent this happening and reduce the problems and also recognize all the people around my area, even the children. So I always look after children protection. So we will take everything into our account. Yeah, so thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for your closing statements, which are helpful. I would now like to announce that our subcommittee will be retiring for a closed session and deliberation, and I invite our legal advisor and clerk to join us and to provide advice. And once the meeting is closed and we close this hearing, our clerk will be disconnecting you from the meeting room. I'd like to inform all those present that all parties will receive a written copy of the decision notice within 5 working days. And I'd now like to close the hearing and thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.